In this video, we will discuss economic agents. Who are economic agents? Economic agents are individuals or entities that make decisions and take decisions in an economy, influencing the allocation of resources and the overall economic activity. So by agents, in economic agents we mean just individuals or entities. Entities could be institutions or some important other elements in the economy, and they take decisions and take actions in the economy, and their decisions and actions will influence the allocation of resources and ultimately the overall economic activity. So such persons or such institutions can be considered as economic agents. So economic agents are individuals or entities who take actions, who take decisions and actions, and their decisions and actions will influence the allocation of resources and thereby determining the course of economic activity. Who are the main economic agents? You can classify economic agents into 5 important heads. One is consumer, second producers, third government, fourth financial system, and fifth external sector or foreign sector. Let us see something about the consumers. Consumers, as you know, play a vital role in the economy as economic agents. They are the ones who ultimately drive demand for goods and services, influencing production and employment. You might know the fact that today many of the economies are consumer demand-led economies. Unless there is consumer demand, you won't be able to produce more goods and services. So therefore, for an economy, consumer demand is very important. Demand that comes from consumers, that's very important. So consumers in that sense play an important role in every economy. And here are some key aspects of consumers as economic agents. First, they create demand. They create demand in the economy. Many economies are led by consumer demand. Private consumption forms an important part of aggregate demand. You know that in aggregate demand, you have different components like C, I, G, and external sector or X minus net export. So all these 4 things are very important, or all these 4 things you can consider as economic agents also, because consumer is very important, investment or producers who invest, that's very important, and government is very important, and external sector is very important. Of all the 5, the consumer plays an important role, or the demand that comes from consumers, that seems very important for an economy. So private consumption or C forms an important part of aggregate demand or aggregate expenditure. Second important role that consumers play in an economy is that they stimulate the process of economic growth. Of course, you know that consumer spending contributes significantly to GDP and economic expansion. Third important role is the confidence of the consumers, consumer confidence, and the spending from the part of the consumers. They can be considered as best indicators of economic performance. So if there is a growing demand for consumer durables, fast moving consumer items, then it does mean that economy is heading forward and it is moving towards a higher economic growth path. So the consumer behavior itself can be considered as an indicator of better performance or as an indicator of performance of an economy. So everywhere market watches the consumer behavior closely to understand the sentiment of the people, to understand the level of consumer confidence, to understand how much the consumers spend in the economy, which can be considered as, of course, as a better indicator of economic performance. And the fourth important role is that when the government takes policies, the policies are evaluated on the basis of the impact that it produces on consumers mainly. Consumers are often the target of policy interventions such as taxation, subsidies, consumer protection, regulations, and therefore, from the policy point of view and from the impact that policies exert on global economy, I think the consumers play an important role. So these are the four important key aspects of consumers as economic agents. First is create demand. Second, they actually fuel the economic growth rate. Their actions could be considered as best economic indicator, and they are the target of many policies of the government, and policies are evaluated primarily on the basis of the impact it produces on the consumer behavior. Let us take the second important economic agent, that is the producer. And you know that producers are also known as firms and enterprises. They play a vital role in the economy as economic agents. And what are the roles that the producers play? One is production and market supply. They produce goods and services to meet consumer demand. They provide the market with goods and services influencing prices and availability. So producers' actions are very vital in determining the market supply, how much products are brought into the market, and that definitely is determined by the decisions of the producers or the behavior of the producers. Second important role, the innovation is something which drives the economy forward, and Schumpeter has specifically pointed out the importance of innovation in accelerating the rate of economic growth. And who will bring about innovation and investment? This is primarily done through the hands of the producers. So it's a producer who innovates and who tries to bring in more and more investment in the economy. So the producers develop new products, they introduce invention in processes, they come with new technologies, and all these things they do mainly for the purpose of staying very competitive in the economy. They invest to expand capacity, they improve efficiency, they enter into new markets. So innovation and investment is an important area where producers contribute a lot. Third important thing is, that producers actually create more employment opportunities. So employment and resource allocation, this is another area where producers as an economic agent can contribute to an economy. They create jobs and determine wages. They allocate resources and decide how to use inputs like labor, capital, and raw materials. So therefore, in that respect, the producers play an important role in an economy. Last but not least, the economic growth and foreign trade. So all actions of the producers will ultimately take us to higher and higher economic growth rate. So they contribute to economic growth. Private investment is an important driver of economic growth. They also contribute to foreign trade. Government is another important player in an economy, or government can be considered as an economic agent because they purchase things, they invest. The government expenditure is an important element in aggregate demand. So in that way, government is said to be actually doing a lot of work as an economic agent in every economy. So the government plays a crucial role as an economic agent influencing the economy through various actions. First important action that governments do is in the case of the policy making. Government makes a lot of policies like fiscal policy, trade policy, industrial policy, agriculture policy. So these policies are framed by the government. That's an important area where government's actions seem to be very important. Second important function that the government do is public goods provision and transfer payments. Government supply essential services like infrastructure, education, and healthcare. It also provides transfer payments in the form of unemployment benefits, scholarship, for example, benefits like education scholarship, and unemployment allowances. These are also provided by the government. And when our economy faces certain type of instability, frequent ups and downs in economic activities, it is a duty of the government to stabilize the economy. So the third important duty or function that the government does is economic stabilization. So governments respond to economic downturns with stimulus packages and bailouts. Fourth important role is investment in human capital and infrastructure development. This is investment in human capital is nothing but investment in education and training, and infrastructure developments, transportation, road, public works. These are carried out by the government. All these things will ultimately lead to economic growth rate. So these are the four important duties that the government is expected to perform in an economy as an economic agent. One is policy making, second public goods provision and transfer payments, and third one is economic stabilization, and fourth one is investment in human capital and infrastructure development. Now the fourth important economic agent is financial system. What is a financial system? Financial system refers to the network of institutions, instruments and markets that facilitate the flow of money and credit in the economy. So institutions plus instruments plus markets for financial things, for financial transactions, that's what's called financial system. It enables the exchange of financial assets, manages risk and provides liquidity, thereby supporting economic activity, growth and development. The financial system performs several key functions like mobilizes savings, allocates credit, manages risk, facilitates transactions, provides liquidity, enables investment and supports economic growth. So these are the important areas of activities that financial system is often engaged in. The last point, the last economic agent is external sector. You know the importance of external sector because external sector actually takes the economy integrated with the rest of the world. Unless we have connections with the external sector, we will remain very isolated, we will remain very closed. So interaction with the external sector is very important, especially the economic interaction with the external sector seems very important. External sector of an economy refers to the component of the economy that engages in international trade and financial transactions with other countries. So that component of the economy which engages in international trade and financial transactions with other countries. And what are the things which the external sector takes care of? That's what is balance of payment, foreign exchange rate, trade balance, international competitiveness, economic integration, global trade. And what are the important things that the external sector does? It influences resource allocation, affects income distribution, impacts economic growth and stability, shape businesses and investment decisions, responds to domestic and international economic conditions. So in short, there are five important economic agents. One is producer, second consumer, third government, fourth is financial system, and the fifth is external sector. So there are five important economic agents.